Right here in my pocket.
All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome. I want to honor our time and get started. We're glad that you're here. This is third in a series that we call Deck the Halls. I think it's the third or fourth.
I'm trying to count. Yeah, 3 or 4.
3 or 4. And every year the bar gets raised a little bit, so we're a little worried about 2025 already. But the great addition is Kim Shiley back at the piano. Yay, welcome, Kim. Now remember, next week is the hymn sing, but we're doing a little hymn singing this week as well. Heavenly Stars and Angels is the theme this year. Laura's great creative genius has gone through the hymnal, picked out practically every Christmas carol has a star or an angel, at least one. Many have several, and we'll sing our way through some of those. But I thought we would begin with People Look East, which is an Advent hymn, and I think it is the perfect Advent hymn because it reminds us that we live in this in-between time. We're preparing to celebrate the coming of Christ, the incarnate Word of God at Christmas, but we're also preparing for Jesus' second coming, his second Advent at the close of the age, who will come and bring in the kingdom to its fulfillment, to come to be our judge, our loving judge, and make everything that's wrong with the world right and enter in a new kingdom. So what happens, and this hymn also explains why we're doing what we're doing today. Why are we arranging flowers in church? We're preparing our hearts and our homes for the arrival of Jesus. So let's begin, and we will sing People Look East. If you'll please stand, and then we'll sit for all the rest of them.
People look east, the time is near of the crowning of the year.
Make your house fair as you are able. Trim the hearth and set the table. People look east and sing today. Love, the guest is on the way. Earth be glad, the earth is there. One more seed is planted there. Give up your strength, the seed to nourish, that in course the flower may flourish. People look east and sing today. Love, the rose is on the way. For you long have ceased to build, guard the nest that must be filled. Even the hour when wings are frozen, God for fleshly time has chosen. People look east and sing today. Love, the bird is on the way. Stars keep the watch when night is dim. One more light the bowl shall bring, shining beyond the frosty weather, bright as sun and moon together. People look east and sing today. Love, the star is on the way. Angels announce with shouts of mirth, Christ who brings new life to earth. Set every peak and valley humming with the word the Lord is coming. People look east and sing today. Love, the Lord is on the way. Please be seated. Yes, well done. Beautiful. People look east. So one more thing about preparing our homes and preparing our beautiful church for this holy season is that there's a sacramental nature to it. As we are doing these outward things, remember that we have to prepare our hearts, not just our homes, but our hearts for the coming of Jesus. So these are outward signs of what's happening inwardly with us. And so that's what we're about today. Maybe, Laura, if you give us just a quick overview of what we're going to do, and then I'll talk about stars and angels, and then I'll be quiet.
Okay.
All right. Good.
Well, we're going to do two, and last year we did botanical boxes, which were almost miniature, right, in their conceit. So my apologies to the person who gets to take this home. It rode as a passenger in our back seat, so we'll talk about that later. And then this particular one, we're going to do, it's much more of a centerpiece side. So I was inspired by angels and stars, so there you go.
Let's talk about angels.
Okay.
Okay, right, there are 4 Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. 2 have birth narratives, Luke and Matthew. And when we go to a Christmas pageant, every year we love a Christmas pageant, but it conflates both stories. They're 2 very different stories, a lot of the similarities, but some differences. So when we talk about angels, angels are really the predominant theme in Luke's telling of the Gospel. So you remember the angel Gabriel comes to Mary and announces Jesus' birth, and when Jesus does come, it's the angels and the heavenly host that tell the shepherds about Jesus' birth, and so that's Luke's telling of the story. Now Matthew's telling of the story. He's the one with the stars. Okay, so it is the star that guides the wise men to Jesus. And so, again, when we see a Christmas pageant, we see them all blurred together. But remember, an angel does come in Matthew, but an angel comes in a dream to not Mary, but to Joseph to tell the story of how Jesus is coming. And in Luke's Gospel, we get Jesus. His name is Jesus. In Matthew's Gospel, we get Emmanuel, God with us. And one more thing about stars in Matthew, which I think is important, is that for Matthew's telling of this wondrous story of the Word being made flesh, is that the whole cosmos is involved. Stars in the heavens are involved. And the link to that is when we fast forward to Easter and resurrection. Remember, in Matthew's telling the story, there's an earthquake. Okay, so the whole cosmos is involved in telling the story. So stars and angels are predominant. You noticed in this Advent hymn, both get mentioned. And in Christmas hymns, we'll sing through some of them right now. Well done, Laura.
So this one, before we sing our next tune, if you came to the demo that I did, that was for the auction for the music program, we talked about what we are calling a creative, casual creative style, and it really lends itself to those angel wings, okay? So that's what this parrots, if you will, and we won't get that technical, but there's like negative low space in this particular one, and then angel wings. The angel wings that I brought today, this is, we were talking a little bit just before about the fact that Garden Club and flower arranging has taught me to look and to see and to forage. And these are branches, bud branches from a Coosa dogwood that's in our front yard. And it just seemed to me to be the indicator, and it is the structure, if you will, of this particular one. So what you're going to do, you're going to go up and down and sync. People will say, but I won't be able to see the people that I'm talking with, across the table. As I've told you, my contention is when you're at a 10 top, you don't hear the people across, you don't hear the punchline anyway, so just talk to the people that are right here. So technique-wise, I have a kensan, a pin frog, down in the bottom of a cement urn, and that holds the sticks there, and then it's also going to hold our amaryllis in place a little bit more strongly. So my able assistant here is going to.
About poinsettias don't play well with other flowers.
They
in the
don't.
pot, so
They don't
that.
at all. So if you hadn't been here before, Orrin is going to sear the stem. And when you cut a poinsettia, you'll see a milky discharge. Daffodils do the same thing. They will deter living for the rest of the flowers. So what we're going to do, Orrin's going to sear them. And just, a few seconds underneath, and it'll give you that piece. I am not a huge poinsettia fan to have, unless they're in mass, like we'll have at church. but as a cut flower, I do love them. I mean, they are of the season. So we're going to go down. Warren, can you make the next one a little bit lower? And then I'm going to remind you, Warren asked me this morning, he said, how did you get those amaryllis? Because Barb is growing amaryllis to bloom exactly like this. Steve can tell you, we get a lot of sunlight in our house, but these were picked up from the wholesaler on Thursday. So they've been moved from sunspot to sunspot to sunspot, and during the night they have their own special little light that on the pass-through that they sit under, and divine intervention. So to remind you about what happens to a cut amaryllis stem, you can see the flare on the bottom of it. So I'm going to go really low with this one. I know, this is like Morticia Adams.
Got it.
So you'll remember, or maybe learn for the first time, typically, if this was a long stem, I would fill it with water. Take a piece of paper towel or a cotton ball, and then you're going to keep that water in there. We're just going to keep it a little less messy. And then you're going to take a small rubber band and put it around the stem. And that's going to keep the flare from forming, when it's underneath. All right, you ready? Let's see if I can get this in here. I also have chicken wire that's holding all of these things together. And here's my marker.
Wonderful.
You ready?
Yeah, as we prepare our next move, open your hymnal to hymn 83, O Come All You Faithful. And we're going to, you remain seated, we're going to sing verse 3 of O Come All Ye Faithful.
Okay. Where did roses go? We're good.
This time we're really going to sing verse 3, okay? Angels, think angels. Sing.
Choirs of angels sing in exultation. Sing, all ye citizens of heaven above. Glory to God, glory in the highest. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him, Christ the Lord. I know.
Talk about your process, how you began thinking about an arrangement, and then how you do the planning and
Sure. This is kind of like a challenge class when I'm doing it in front of everybody. When one gets that inspiration, it's like, okay, what's gonna be angels to me? And this is all about the wings. And then it's like, okay, what style is going to be, the most appropriate for me? And then, believe it or not, it becomes the container. And I know that sounds kind of bizarre, maybe, but what's going to be the the carrier, the foundation of it, and then what interprets, those particular aspects of it. And to me, the wings of the amaryllis are certainly, that which came to mind initially. But also, if you look at a poinsettia blossom, it's very star-like. You know, it is very star-like. So from that perspective, one begins to put primary, we call them feature flowers, and clearly the feature flowers in this one are the amaryllis and the poinsettia. And then you have line flowers, which are the snapdragons and the dendrobium orchids that are coming out. And then you have secondary flowers, and I know garden roses are typically not secondary, but in this particular instance, they become the secondary flowers. And then we're going to go to filler. Excuse me. So secondary flowers on this one this is a garden rose, it's called Princess Mayuki. And we use it a lot in weddings. She's a lovely flower, and just has a difference between a garden rose. I don't have a fairly typical rose because this is kind of cheating, but this is a garden rose. This is a hybrid tea, and it's the number of petals. That's how that's, you know, the structure of the rose and the number of petals that it has. So we're going to use these over here. So secondary flowers, as I'm popping them in, are the Princess Mayukis. What we're going to do, it's getting crowded in here already, but that's okay. Again, we want to leave some room up in there. And, you know, I laugh about this, but it's absolutely true. As much as I've done this, I don't do it well backwards. So that's why, you know, as you're looking at it, I'm like, okay, I wonder what they're seeing over there. So I'll spin it around, and my little turntable is creaking a little bit. And then I will say, when I was at the wholesaler, this is called Scabiosa, which is a terrible name for a beautiful flower. It comes in white, it comes in burgundy, it comes in red, and a lighter pink. And when I looked at these, it was like, oh, those are like the bobbing heads of the angels, you know. So I had to get those. These are actually pretty hardy. Usually they're a little less stiff than this. How are we doing
Speaking
time-wise?
of angels, if you'll turn in your hymnal to hymn 87.
He's keeping us on track.
87. We're going to do the first verse of Hark the Herald Angels Sing. Many people know this one without the hymnals. Hymn 87.
Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King. Peace on earth and mercy mild, God and sinners reconciled. Joyful all the nations rise, join the triumph of the skies. With angelic hosts proclaim, Christ is born in Bethlehem. Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King. Okay.
You talked a bit about design and structure. How about color? How do you decide about color?
Well, you know, in art, angels come in very different. They aren't all white and Cupid-like and little white wings, but I guess I would just relate to it from that standpoint. It's like, it is the quintessential.
Perfect.
The quintessential. All right, let's see if we can get this big guy way out here. The other thing I think about in this is my concept of angels is more ethereal, if you will. This is a very loose style. It's calculated. Like many things, the simpler they are, the harder it is to put it together. So this one's, going to be rather loose and open. So I want to keep that down in there. But in theory, I see angels as being somewhat ethereal. So to really loosen this up, this is plumosa fern, which is dirt cheap, and I've sprayed it very lightly with white spray paint, and I think it's just really going to give us, some open and ethereal angel-like. I guess angels are, the perception is different, right? Gabriel wasn't white when he came down, and I mean, he's a pretty strong guy, right?
Yeah. It's almost feathery.
Yes,
nice.
it is.
Yeah.
We use it a lot in garlands and whatnot. But with the greens, the evergreens, I just thought it was going to be a little bit, it'll loosen it up a little bit for us. I don't know that looks that happy, huh? But this is something that literally, if you put it down on the counter, it'll be here next Tuesday without any water. So that's an advantage as well. Maybe I was inspired by my little angel back there. Can I say that?
Introduce that little angel back there.
That little angel back there is our grandson, who will be 10 months old. And he's just moved back here from Berlin, Germany, and we have been so excited that Rob, our son, and Alex, his lovely wife, have come back to us for a short time anyway. So maybe that's what inspired me. There are times that he isn't as angelic, but hey, that happens to the best of us, right? That happens to the best of us. So I don't want to make it too hairy, right? We'll put this back down here.
I'm sure you'll tell me if you need me to do something.
I know. Orin's got his part to do, doesn't he?
How about I talk about angels? Remember, it means messenger, so they're God's messengers, particularly in these birth narratives, telling all the other characters about what's about to happen and what is happening, so they're interpreting that message. And I've always loved that the same root word is for evangelists, and angel is in there, so we are proclaimers of that good news as well. So we are messengers as well.
So I'm just going to sink these down a little bit further. And in our usual manner, whoever gets to take this home, I promise I'll finish it before I go over to... He's trying to be so good. Right?
So how much time does it usually take? You've gotten the idea, you've been to the wholesale florist, you get home and you think, okay, now
Depends on when the client needs it.
a deadline.
There's always a deadline, and typically a client, people say, and I have had a great deal of fun. I've been doing this for 20-some years, and it has been great fun. And in all that time, I will tell you, I have never had a bridezilla, never. Oh. I had two mothers that were, when the discussion comes to, well, I'm paying for this and I want my garden club to be happy. It's like, it's not your wedding. But anyway.
We digress.
We digress, yes. Yeah, you probably don't want me to be that candid, do you? So it truly depends on, there are some things that come very, very quickly. I do love Ikebana and contemporary design, and again, that's one of those, in the Western fashion, we tend to just add more. And in the Eastern cultures, it is much more about the singularity and what's in nature and being able to see that particular flower instead of just more. Where did you put it? I think we're pretty close on this one, actually. Guess
Laura.
where this is from? This is from outside by the garage. But again, the variegation, and maybe this is a comment on our climate change, that vinca is still looking this good, and it's December. That's crazy. That's crazy. So you guys can... Never. Not in the shop. No, I don't.
What
But
was the question, Laura?
about using a Lazy Susan. I don't, Martha. In the shop, I don't work out. I just lift things. It's one sees it, and I have the opportunity to walk around on different sides of the table there. So it's a little different.
Laura will not brag about herself, but I would like for you to tell us, Laura, about the, I guess it's a competition, but what is the Virginia Museum in Richmond has an annual competition?
And maybe we'll
you've
do
been
that.
the
Maybe
winner.
no.
Tell us about-
I've participated.
Yeah, tell us about what the...
Fine Arts and
design.
Flowers, they do every other year. It is phenomenal. If you love flowers and you love art, you must go. And there are arrangers from all over the state, grouped kind of like by Garden Club of Virginia, and then the Sugetsu Society is involved, and you get to choose a painting or piece of artwork. They'll choose 80 some of them, and they do a fine job of trying to get you the one that you wanted to interpret, and you interpret it. And just like this, you interpret it. You don't copy it. It's not your job to, parrot the painting. Maybe we'll do that. I did think about the fact
maybe
that,
next year, yeah. Madonna
if we
in
get
trial,
invited
right?
back.
If we get invited back.
I don't know if we get invited back, but yes, and so again, it tests your imagination a little bit. It's like, okay, what in that painting, drew me to it? Was it the color? Was it the structure? Was it the subject matter? And it's great fun. Well, maybe we'll do the Cathedral Rose Window, or we'll do Notre Dame. But okay, I think we're close, right?
We have our chapel window is Rowan LeCompte, who did the cathedral window, so we can maybe use
That's a
our
good
own window
tie-in.
pass. Yeah,
We
great
can use
tie-in.
our tie-in. So
Yeah.
I think we're pretty close on this one. So there you go.
What do you think?
Or it. And this is your last step. You have to do this.
So is this
Okay.
how you keep an arrangement fresh? Just push
Yeah,
it every now and again? Yeah, and make sure it has water in the vase?
Funny
guess.
you should say that. We were breaking down a very dear friend's daughter's wedding, and another
I'll
good
take
friend, another good friend was helping carry some of these out, and he took this box of all these arrangements, and he tipped it, and he's like, well, why is this happening? There's water pouring everywhere. It's like, guess what? There was water in there to keep those going. So, all right, we're going to shift. And again,
Okay, you need one of these.
I said to Steve this morning, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to, in the shop, it's easy because there's this ceiling and I just keep working. But this is, again, about, for you flower nerds out there, this is about technique to show you maybe something you hadn't thought about. This is bigger than I thought it was going to be, but Ian, you have high ceilings. Maybe you get to take this home. But rather than use this skunky old tomato cage that's that's in the garage, if you look at the bottom of this, and I bought a fresh new one. And I will say, when I went in to get this morning, just to toss it into the car to show you, how I did this, I was like, this one's like 2/3 the size of this. But so it's all about scale and proportion, right? So anyway, this is a technique that kind of lends itself to, we did Christmas trees. We did Germany and Christmas trees a couple of years ago. This is Again, a flower arrangement, and I would advocate if you have a large sideboard, if you have a big dining room table. I would not contend that this goes on a dining room centerpiece for people to have to talk over. But this structure really gives us an opportunity. There is, forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. There is Oasis, okay? And as much as we talk about not using Oasis, it is not environmentally friendly. It's not particularly good for you to be working around, but nonetheless, that is, the base of that is an Oasis ring. It's a 15-inch ring. And because this was even taller, I mean, it was like here, I did cut 6 inches off of the bottom of it. And then those 3 spikes are into my Oasis. So that's how that's held together. I was going to be dramatic and put the star on top here, but mechanically it just didn't work, so I did it earlier. So there it is. And imagination being what it is. Come on, you come and get here to work.
I'm remiss.
I know. The man's got a job to do.
Okay, we're moving to stars now. So, Kim, what version of "O Little Town of Bethlehem" would you like to play? Oh, that's always dangerous, isn't it? You just tell us a number, and that's one we'll sing. 78 or 79? 78, okay, and it's the first verse. We're talking about silent stars going by.
It's pinched together like that, and I wired around it, and then I jammed the piece of Oasis on there. Of the deep and dreamless sleep, the silent stars go by. Yet in the dark street shineth the everlasting light. The hopes and fears of all the years are met in thee tonight. Okay. So Orrin asked before about my wackadoodle imagination. To me, I just thought of this kind of as more of a forest, if you will, down in the bottom, and the wreath being the base of it. And now I've probably been a little too exuberant in my greens, but where
and
are
remind
we?
us, what's this flower?
This is a snapdragon,
Snapdragon.
which is essentially a spring flower, but it worked. It worked. And because we're working in Oasis, I'm working in Oasis, it changes a little bit. I've used amaryllis in Oasis before, but it's a little challenging. It doesn't take up as much water, and let's face it, anything that basically has the water. Come on, jump in here.
I've got several done. Okay, we've got points.
We're at 10:35 here.
And this is a thistle that's been painted, I believe.
Yeah. These are these are gumballs. Okay, and I said gumballs and to my darling daughter-in-law, and I said, Alex, would you pick up some gumballs? And she goes, gumballs, thinking she was going to go to the candy store.
Yeah.
These are the seed pods from a gum tree.
Gumballs.
So they're not really gumballs.
And then what's that?
And this is thistle.
They're just thistle.
And I've integrated the thistle down here, but again, that was very star-like to me. So I kind of thought of the forest and basically the dome of what we're going to pull forward.
And these are?
These are recycled tubes from the bottom of the orchids, and I have used bullion wire to cover them, and Oasis wire to make hangers that are,
So they're wrapped?
Yeah, they're wrapped.
Twice,
in there. So more than thinking of this as a conical tree, I was thinking of it, more as the dome to the sky that we're gonna add some stars to. And Oren's working on the stars now.
Hymn 101 is Away in the Manger. I believe we have some stars in that one. Verse 1, Away in the Manger.
Okay, let's put some more of this up here. Away in a manger, no crib for a bed, the little Lord Jesus lays down his sweet head. The stars in the sky look down where he lay, and little Lord Jesus asleep on the hay.
Beautiful.
Okay, we coming along here?
You want all of these done? I
Yeah,
guess since you went to the trouble of doing it all, yes, we should do that.
we can finish up a little later. This rose is called Playa Blanca. And it is one that we use frequently. It's not as white, it's a little bit more ivory. But, not your traditional Christmas, but, and then these bead-like, this is like one of the ugliest things you've probably seen. It's called Brunei, Brunei, and yet when you strip away all these funky doodle little things, you get these wonderful silver berries. Okay, you ready, Martha? This is too big for the... So you can see, again, to me, it just has a more star-like, effect. All right, aren't you about ready? I'm gonna pop this over here. So the greens in here are, silver tips, which is similar to noble fir. White pine. What else did I put in there? Juniper. The blueberries on the juniper I thought were just really marvelously indicative. What's our time like? Where's the timer back there, Steve?
Oh, gosh. Yeah, we got
I know, we got to go.
put a wiggle on
Okay,
it there.
so again, the sprint to the finish, I promise I'll finish. I might miss the
Okay.
opening hymn at 11 o'clock.
All right. How about, have we done It Came Upon a Midnight Clear? No. Hymn 89, verse 1 of hymn 89.
Okay, you ready? It came upon a midnight clear, the glorious song of old. The angels wending near the earth to touch their hearts of gold. Peace on the earth, goodwill to men, for heaven's all glorious King. The world in solemn stillness lay to hear the angels sing. All right. Okay, we're going to hide that stem. So I took picks that are floral picks and hot glued them. It is a ridiculous obsession, I guess. But hot glued them right into one of the little cavities. And so I'm picking those in. So the piece de résistance. We're going to take and we're going to hang the stars up on the wire. Okay. Oops. We're going to have to pinch him a little bit.
Oh, beautiful.
Okay, so you're going to use your structure just to hang some stars. Go ahead, jump in there. And these, the little dendrobiums, I had Orrin cut them. They're just the little stems of the dendrobiums, and we've put thistle in there and a little bit. So if you're doing this in a shorter version, which I might advocate, all the principles remain the same, right? So this is kind of our ornament. And I thought of it as the dome in the sky. Okay, this is not going to cooperate. I need my needle nose pliers. I'll get it on there. This is, the wire is made by Oasis, and it's made in every color that you can imagine. All right, I'll give. There you go. And it's very malleable. I twisted it around a pencil, and then it really does move quite freely for you.
All right, we've got to sing one more as we finish up, and this is hymn 96, and again, verse 1. Angels we have heard on high.
Favorite.
Yeah, they won't stay up there, will they?
I know. We'll get 'em. Angels we have heard on high, sweetly singing o'er the glen, and the mountains in reply, echoing their joyous cry. Gloria in excelsis Deo. Gloria in excelsis Deo. Okay, you ready?
Yeah. Questions for Laura before we finish up? Those who remember in past years, we had a little biblical quiz to see who would win the arrangements. We've done something different this year. Under 2 chairs, there is a sticky note. And if you have that under your chair, so you might want to stand up and look underneath. You get to pick which one of these you would like to get. Or if you're near one.
That's too funny.
Okay. There should be 2 out there.
Oh, sweet thing. You are so clever. I know everybody's going to be turning chairs over. Huh?
Okay, where's Andrew? Where's my assistant? One's in the middle and one's on the end. Okay. All right. We might have to go back to the biblical quiz.
You're very welcome. Huh?
Hey!
How are you? Susan!
Okay.
So lucky.
Good for you. Good for you.
Let's thank Laura for her excellent, please.
Thank you, dear. You're very welcome.
All right, I've got